Imagine you're walking home down a muddy medieval road. It's midnight, the moon is pale, the village is silent, and suddenly, across your path, slips a black shadow. A cat. Its eyes catch the faint torchlight, glowing like embers. Your heart stops. You clutch your cloak tighter, because in the Middle Ages, this wasn't just a cat. This was a messenger of death, a servant of the devil, a witch in disguise. Today we're diving into one of the most bizarre and tragic stories in human history. How an animal that was once worshipped as a god became so feared that people would rather die than live alongside it. This is the dark truth about why medieval people were absolutely terrified of black cats. Before we dive into the medieval madness, we need to travel back in time to understand just how drastically things changed. Because here's the thing, black cats weren't always feared. In fact, they were once considered the most sacred animals on earth. And the transformation from sacred to satanic? It's going to shock you. Let's start in ancient Egypt, where killing a cat, especially a black cat, could literally get you executed. No joke. The Egyptians didn't just like cats, they were obsessed with them. The goddess Bastet was often depicted as a sleek black cat, and she wasn't just any minor deity. She was the protector of homes, defender of women and children, and guardian against evil spirits. Black cats were considered so powerful that they could absorb negative energy just by being near you. Egyptian families would mummify their cats and bury them with jewels and food for the afterlife. When a family cat died, everyone in the household would shave off their eyebrows in mourning. These weren't pets, they were family members with divine connections. But here's where our story takes a dark turn. As Christianity spread across Europe, church leaders faced a challenge. People weren't completely letting go of their old beliefs. They were mixing Christianity with ancient traditions, creating something the church couldn't control. So the church took a different approach. Instead of just introducing new beliefs, they systematically redefined the old ones as dangerous and evil. And this is where black cats got caught in the crossfire. Now, to understand why this fear became so extreme, you need to understand what life was like in medieval Europe. We're talking about a world where average life expectancy was maybe 30 years, where one bad harvest meant entire villages starved, where diseases could wipe out half your town overnight. People were desperate for explanations. When your baby dies suddenly, when crops fail, when mysterious illnesses strike, you need someone to blame. You need a reason. And cats? They were perfect scapegoats. They moved silently in the darkness. Their eyes reflected light in ways that seemed supernatural. They were active when evil spirits were supposed to roam. Most importantly, they were often owned by women, particularly older women who lived alone. These women were already suspicious to medieval society. Add a few mysterious black cats to the mix, and you've got yourself a witch. In the early 1230s, Pope Gregory IX was facing a crisis that threatened the very foundation of church authority. Across Europe, reports were flooding in about secret religious groups, underground movements that were blending Christianity with ancient rituals and beliefs the church had declared heretical. These weren't isolated incidents. From Germany to France, from England to Italy, these heretical sects were gaining followers and spreading their influence. They practiced rituals in hidden locations, recruited new members through secretive networks, and openly challenged church teachings. The Pope knew that if these movements continued to grow unchecked, they could undermine centuries of Christian doctrine. In 1233, Gregory issued an official papal document called Vox in Rama, designed to expose and eliminate these heretical groups permanently. According to Gregory, during initiation ceremonies of new members, a large black cat with gleaming eyes would appear. New recruits were forced to kiss this creature, sometimes on its hindquarters, to pledge their loyalty to Satan. The highest religious authority in Europe had officially declared black cats to be agents of devil worship. The results were swift and absolutely brutal. Black cats were burned alive in public squares. They were thrown from church towers during religious festivals. Entire communities participated in cat-killing frenzies. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. As Europe's cat population plummeted, something else started happening. The rat population exploded. Without cats to control them, rats took over European cities and countryside. They ate grain stores, invaded homes, and bred without natural predators. But rats brought something far worse than property damage. They brought fleas, and those fleas carried a disease that would become known as the Black Death. The bubonic plague killed between 75 and 200 million people, roughly 1/3 of Europe's entire population. It was the deadliest pandemic in recorded history. The very animals that Europeans had mass murdered out of fear could have significantly reduced the spread of the plague that killed them. But the black cat hysteria wasn't finished. As witch trials ramped up across Europe, black cats became key evidence in prosecutions. The logic was terrifyingly simple. Witches needed supernatural assistance for their magic. Black cats were clearly their demonic helpers. Therefore, any woman with a close relationship to a black cat was obviously a witch. Court documents from witch trials contain testimonies like, "The accused talks to her black cat like it's human. She feeds it from her own plate, and it sleeps upon her bed." Such intimate relations with a beast can only be explained by demonic pacts. Thousands of women were tortured, imprisoned, and executed based partly on their relationships with cats. The animals that had once been protectors of women were now being used as evidence to murder them. By the end of the medieval period, the damage was complete. Black cats had gone from divine protectors to demonic threats in just a few centuries. Millions of cats had been killed, thousands of women had been executed, and the plague had devastated Europe. The superstition had become so deeply embedded in European culture that it spread wherever Europeans went, to the Americas, to Australia, to colonies around the world. A medieval fear became a global phenomenon. And that brings us to today. We still carry echoes of this medieval terror today. Black cats are statistically less likely to be adopted from shelters. Many people still feel a tiny flutter of unease when a black cat crosses their path. We like to think we're rational modern people, but we're still influenced by a mass hysteria that started in medieval European villages over 700 years ago. The next time you see a black cat, remember it's melanin, the pigment that makes their fur black. Nothing else. And maybe, just maybe, appreciate that you live in a time when a cat can just be a cat. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe.